good morning, good afternoon, good evening again, and welcome to another session, the A4Q Congress 2nd edition. My name is Debbie Archer, and I'm absolutely delighted to have with me Aditya Mirza Bahari. We're going to call him Mirza. I've already asked permission. And he's going to be talking about quality as everyone's responsibility. A quick intro to Mirza. He is the president of the Indian Software Testing Board, and he's also a test engineering manager at Bukalapak. Mirza, I'm going to hand over to you in just a second. First, just to say to anybody who's listening, if you've got questions, Mirza will be here to answer those. And I know he's really looking forward to some good questions from you. So please pop them in the comments box. And over to you, Mirza, for your presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here, and nice to meet you all again virtually. This is my second time to be in A4Q World Congress, and I hope that this pandemic will end soon so we can meet again in person in the real life. Today, I will try to share my experience of equality is everyone's responsibility and how to change your organization mindset about the quality of your products. Here is the outline of today's talks. The first, we will have an introduction, and we will talk about common programming practices. And the next one, we will also have a talk what is quality and what is the software quality itself. And go to the main topic, we will talk about quality is everyone's responsibility and be the quality specialist of your team. And last but not least, we will have a tips and trick and Q&A session after the slide has ended. So let's jump into the first topic. Before we started, let me introduce myself. My name is Aditya Mirza Bahari. People call me Mirza. I am founder and the president of Indonesia Software Testing Board. I also work as a test engineering manager in one of Indonesia's online marketplace called Bukalapak. And since it's really hard to find any documentation or lecturer or journal about software testing in my country, I actively to create a podcast content called Ngobrol QA. It's available in Spotify and Google Podcasts also. It's talk about software testing in Indonesian language, so it will be in Bahasa. I also actively participated in Indonesia Software Quality Assurance Community, which is the largest QA community in Indonesia that have more than 5,000 members active in Telegram groups. So if you have any chance to have a discussion with me, let's talk. Okay, a short and brief about my hometown, Indonesia. Many of you even don't know where Indonesia is. And maybe you heard about Bali or Lombok or Sumatra or Borneo. And usually it's more famous than Indonesia itself. Have you ever been there? If yes, maybe you can share it to us on the comment section, sharing your experience when visiting Indonesia. Yeah, maybe you can share it. The fact is, Bali or Lombok or Borneo is only one of island in Indonesia, and of course, has a very beautiful beach, have very beautiful scenery, and have a various traditional culture. But actually, we have many more beautiful places for you to go. In short, Indonesia is number 4 most populous country in the world. We have 267 million people. We consist of 17,000 islands. We have a 34 province and 700 unique language, but we use Bahasa as our national language. And we have a beautiful mountains, beach, beautiful scenery of city. So please come to Indonesia. Next, I want to share a bit about my organization, Indonesia Software Testing Board. This is only short and brief about IDSTB. We also a national member board of Indonesia International Software Test Qualification Board. So if you need any STQB and software testing certification, or you need a partnership in terms of software testing, feel free to contact IDSTB. Okay, let's start. We are in a very fast-paced digital world. Today, we can see almost everything must be operated with a software. Let's say you are wake up in the morning and you set up your alarm, you will need a software to organize your alarm. Maybe after you wake up, you're gonna take a shower, but you will read a headline first from your preferred online news feed. It will also need a software for you to read the news. After that, you want to go to your office, you will need to set your car direction using a Google Maps to see how's the traffic towards your destination. Or if you have a smart car, you will give the instruction to your car to play your favorite music maybe, or favorite music playlist to play during your drive to your office. And when you are in the office, beside your routine job duty, you will have sometimes check your smartphone to check your social media to find out what is the world happening right now, and etc. And so on and so forth. But we have one conclusion, which are software is everywhere. So if software everywhere, because it's almost everywhere, therefore the software must be created with a high quality development team. And if you want to get high quality software, you need a great team who can support all of your needs and give their best solution. And you may also need a great coffee to make your code work. Let's jump to the common development practice. Here's a software development practice that may be implemented in your organization. If you are more familiar with the development based on testing, you can choose test-driven development or behavior-driven development. The test-driven development creates better code that is more fault-tolerant. On the other hand, behavior-driven development allows you to learn the features and requirements directly from the customer. And that alignment translates into code that is closer to the user needs. And if you are more familiar with the code simplicity, you can choose dry or don't repeat yourself. The idea behind the principle is that repeating yourself is a bad thing to do when coding, because having a same code in different places makes maintainability harder. One changes in the code will have to happen in many places instead of one. Or another part is Yagni, you are gonna need it. Always implement things when you actually need them, never when you just foresee that you may need them. The idea is to reduce unnecessary complexity in the software development. Based on the code review, we have peer code review. They will help you to develop your software easier, and it also help you to gain more trust among the engineering team or among the participant of your development team. So that's all about the common software development practice. So what's about quality? Let's say your team is already choose the best way or their best way to build the software. So what's about the quality of the software? Have your team involved or participate in terms of assuring quality of your software? Okay, let's talk about quality first. Based on IDSTB glossary, quality is the degree to which a component, system, or process meets specified requirement and or user customer need and expectation. And based on the Aristotle quotes, its quality is not an act, it's an habit. And the software quality from the STQB also is the totality of a functionality and the features of a software product that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. So let's say if you are working as one of the software development team, whether you are an engineer, a software engineer, or a software tester, we have to make sure that all functionality and feature satisfy our user. Is that correct? That's the main reason why we need to ensure the software quality. Okay, let's see what is the common mindset about software quality in the development team across the world. On some cases, the organizations may neglect the importance of testing. and choose to test the software separately and maybe not test at all. This is very dangerous and serious problem. This case usually happen because the organization think that testing is unnecessary and it will make a delivery time much longer because we have to test almost everything, which is this one is a very serious and dangerous problem if your organization implementing this. Another mindset is the developer is only responsible for coding and no need to involve in any testing activity. So in this mindset, your organization thinks that developers is only works on their code and no need to care about quality. This is usually happen because of lack information how to build software based on specific approach like I said before, TDD, BDD, or another approach on developing the software. Another mindset is about the release time. Usually the release time dependent in how fast the testing activity done by tester. Have you experienced this? Maybe you can say that, the release time is really take a long time because the test is really having a long period. If you experience this, maybe you can share in the comment section about your experience and we can have a discussion. In a few conditions, I hope this not happen in your organization. When there's a defect or bug slip into the production, tester would be the one who get blamed. If this happen, there's some fundamental mindset in your organization that should be changes. Number 5 is the testing must be exhaustive. Typically, another stakeholder in your organization may say if the test has passed, so there will be no more bug or defect on the production. We have to extremely change this mindset because testing it's not to make the software 100% bug free, but testing can trigger the bug to introduce so we can fix it and reduce the production fail risk. Another mindset is easy. Some people think the testing is only an easy thing to do compared with coding or compared with another activity in the development. This is completely a wrong statement, and we have to change this mindset because all of complexity in requirement or user needs should be covered by proper tests. That's why we can compare testing with coding or another activity in the development. Another mindset is UI test. Some of the team would think that more we test in UI or end-to-end UI test is better. And they think that this is the only way to find a defect. Despite as a development team, we have several tests alongside with the UI test. For example, we have a unit test, a component test, an integration test, or any non-functional test like a load test, stress test, security test, and etc. Because quality, it's not only talk about functionality. We have to make sure that all of quality aspect has been fulfilled. And the last is another stakeholder in your organization sometimes thinks that QA is or the software tester is the only person who responsible of software quality. The fact is quality is not only software tester responsibility. Quality is everyone's responsibility. I know this very popular quote, and let's see how to implement this quote into reality in your development teams. Let's take an example for how Agile team ensure their software quality. Agile is one of the software development lifecycle that makes you and your team work iteratively. Agile also makes you can freely choose your best way to develop the software, but in the real world, sometimes Agile also neglect the testing and turns into a wrong mindset that testing should be put after the development only. And the one who's responsible for doing testing is only the software tester. Actually, you can say, okay, at least we have test our product rather than we don't test it at all. But this habit will make your team think that the quality is only the responsibility of the tester team. So in this presentation, I want to show you that the software quality is need to be assured with all of your team members, even since the product's still in the requirement phase. Okay, let's go to case by case. Case one, let's say your team still have a mindset that QA is the one who can assure the software quality. So the test activity might be writing the test case, test the function, and report it to their respective stakeholder. On the case two, it's a bit better because alongside with the writing and testing and reporting, the QA team still doing exploring by doing exploratory testing, and maybe the business analyst or the product owner team can join also to explore to find a possible defect. In the case three, this is maybe the big improvement. In before we write the test, the QA team also involved in the grooming session. And on that session, the product owner will also make sure that all of the requirements are having a clear acceptance criteria. So tester can write the test case based on the acceptance criteria and the test based on the real user needs that turns into scenario of the test case. So what about the case number 4? The number 4 is one of the strategy that we can apply to make sure the quality is driven by all of your team members. The first one is the grooming session. On this phase, the most important thing is to have a clear acceptance criteria. Your product owner or product manager drive the grooming session and ask the developer and the tester about the possibility of defect that can identify easily just by doing review to the product requirement document or to another requirement documentation. So the developer and the tester will create the code and the test case only based on the acceptance criteria. The next activity is suggesting. As the quality engineer or software tester, we have to make sure that developer create their own tests. So we are not only the one who create the test cases, but the developer should create their own tests and test by themselves, like a unit test, integration test. We can also help them by suggesting the scenario of the test case that can covered by unit test or not. The third activity is writing the test case. After suggesting that, we can continue to write the test case based on acceptance criteria and make sure all of the corner case has been covered. The number 4 is reviewing. Because we want to make sure all of the developer tests is synchronized with the acceptance criteria, so we can do a peer review to make sure unit or integration test that has been built by developer has covered some test cases. And we are come to the testing section. This is the usual activity as a tester. You test the feature or the function based on the test case that built synchronized with the acceptance criteria. But if you are using the TDD approach and applied the shift left testing, you can also maybe skip the manual test cases that have been covered by unit or integration tests. Why skipping this test case? Because we want the developer test works and at least used to cover some simple test cases that may become more complicated if the test executed by user interface test by the tester. So sometimes we can change the manual test, and if the manual test scenario covered with the unit test and integration, we can take a decisions to skip the manual test or the very simple test that can be executed during the unit test instead of user interface test. And the 6th is exploratory. After testing, the QA also doing exploratory tests to find any possible defect that can't be introduced by happy flow or normal test case. This activity can help to boost confidence before we release the product. And the last thing is to create a report to make sure everything is on place and also to know what is the status of each acceptance criteria before we can release the product safely. Okay, so if we are back to the agile step, we can also using this simple formula to make sure everyone care about quality. On the requirement phase, we can use the static review or error guessing or any technique regarding the review phases. On the design, we can use the white box testing using the structural database test which usually takes by the developer team or infra team or DevOps teams. On the development, we have to make sure the unit test, integration test, or any test that can be finished by the developer, it's already executed and synchronized with the acceptance criteria. And on the testing step, we will have a end-to-end testing that maybe can execute it by the tester or the software tester. And after deployment, we can have a smoke test, or before the deployment has finished, we can have the smoke testing, and maybe you can implement the automated testing that can run daily, so it can be placed on the nightly schedule. So every morning you wake up, you got a report about the flaky test or about the test that has been failed, so you can identify the defect early. So after that, before the review phases, we can have a regression testing. And I suggest you to have the regression testing by using the automated test scenario. So don't be a tester, be the quality specialist of your team. You must be the one who drives software development models to have a best quality using the best technique and strategy of testing that can help you to drive a quality of software thoroughly and make sure your team use a test strategy that fits with your organization. Sometimes, if you are looking for another company or another success story, they can adapt with the good strategy or using specific products or specific approach. You cannot adopt it just in one time with your organization. You have to make sure the strategy that you want to apply with your organization are fits with your development team. And as a quality specialist, you also have to help others to understand what is quality, how to measure the quality, and how to maintain the quality by doing. Maybe you can coach your team members about how to write a test case, or maybe you can mentoring the developers how to uh, cover more unit tests rather than before. And the last thing, be a quality advocate and be bold because you are the quality specialist of your team. Okay, we are going to the tips and trick. TDD and BDD. If you are in agile development, you can use TDD mixed with the BDD to help you and your team care about responsibility of the software quality. Because if the developer built a development test and in a plus a scenario of testing are implemented based on business driven, this can be an advantage point to have, and it will be make your team more easier to deliver the product. The peer review also can be the tips if you have to reduce a production bug or risk. And also, if you have a peer review, you can build the trust among members of your organization. And the third is developer test, like a unit test, integration testing. If you are looking for the pyramid of testing, we have to build a test based on the pyramid. You have to build a more unit test rather than UI tests, and so on and so forth. And also, if the unit test is covered for the most of the line of code, it can also boost your developer experience confidence level so they can know they build a high quality product. And automate the regression tests. Why automate the regression test also can help and be tips and trick? Because as a tester, you will have a time change related testing like automated regression or retesting after the bug fix. When you can automatically test, you can create an automation test on the regression phase, it will make you or make your job or duty easier than before, because yeah, you know, that's really hard if you have to test the same test cases using the same scenario again and again. So you can rather automate it than you choose it or you execute it by manual test. And QA as quality advocate can be the next level of your organization journey. It can be start from mentoring and giving a correct information about what is quality and how we ensure the quality. So you can have their trust to drive quality excellence in your organization. And also, as a quality advocate, you are the quality specialist and you are be the mentor or the coach of the quality things in your organization would be an advantage. And the last is change the mindset. Make sure everyone understand what to change and how to change by using the correct way to roll out the new development method or strategy. Okay. To create a high quality software, we need to make sure everyone care about quality. And there's a quote again, when you are out of quality, you are out of business. That's why quality is everyone's responsibility. Thank you. That's all of my presentation, and let's keep in touch. If you have any question, we can talk now. Maybe you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you. Back
Thank you.
to you again, Debbie.
Thank you, Mirza, for that. Thank you. Indeed, you know, I think Denning's quote is something that really makes you stop and think about that phrase, quality is everyone's responsibility, and what does it really mean? I guess a question for you is, how subjective can that become at an individual level, and how do you actually bring minds together so the understanding of what quality is, it's a common understanding of that rather than that individual subjective perception?
Yeah, actually, the subjective, if we are talking about the subjective mindset, it's sometimes people only think about a phase to another phase or a section into another section, and when it comes to the testing section, a people mindset or a subjective mindset will only thinks about, okay, let the quality team do their own and let's see what is the result. And that's a very dangerous problem if you want to drive your organization with a mindset of we have to ensure quality by all of the members, because if you only using a subjective things to answer that problem, so you will stuck into the problem that it will be only covered by the tester. So yeah, we don't have to make sure all the quality itself. Yeah, we can put all the blame with the tester. So we have a very bad practice there.
And from your experience, you know, can you talk about a few things that you may have done that have helped with this and helped to drive the concept of quality as everyone's responsibility?
Yeah, from my experience, I also have an experience with, yeah, nobody care about the quality. The quality is for only the tester. And after that, I talk with another stakeholder and make sure they know what is the best quality to deliver to the user and how we can achieve that. So at first we have a discussion, and then we identify our problems, and the problem is coming from the very basic things, because all of the development team don't know what kind of product they want to build. So they don't involve in the grooming session, or they don't involve in any particular business meeting or kind of that. And maybe it can help a bit, because the developer can focus on their code or the tester can focus on their test. But sometimes to to know the context about the functionality, or to know the context about the non-functionality even. Yeah, we have to know how the business works, and we have to know the expectation of our user, and why we build this, and why we want to build this, rather than, okay, we have a requirement and you can build and you can test and we deliver. That's not all the point, right? So
Yeah,
if we want to make sure that the quality is everyone's responsibility, at least we have to at the same page know what is the quality bar that you can send or you can deliver to your user.
I think we were talking earlier before we went live about
Yeah,
Olivier's broadcast yesterday about faster value, and I think that possibly links to that as well. Is it the team having a common understanding of the value that you're trying to achieve? Perhaps does that fit in there too?
yeah. The if we want to deliver a value, we we cannot also deliver just a value itself. The value is must consist of a good quality, right? So if you want to deliver a valuable product, or you can say that we want to make sure that user can use my software on their perspective and it's usable to use a day to day or etc. You have to make sure that in your mindset, you have to make sure that you deliver a good quality of software. So that's why when you have a mindset, you always deliver a good quality of software. You will deliver a value to your user.
And it is about mindset.
Yeah, it's all about starting from the mindset. If you don't have the mindset, yeah, it might be harder.
We have a question from MD here. What are the major things you suggest to look out for to find a strategy that fits the organization?
Yeah, if we are if I'm not understand wrong with the question, is sometimes the strategy is not working directly with your organization. Maybe you attend the conference like this, you see the success story of another organization, you saw, wow, those company implement a lot of automation tests, or those company implement the good exploratory things and etc. But when you come and take a look first to your organization, let's check with your team first, rather than your team is ready or not to accept the strategy, or you have a good supporting tools to accept the strategy, or as simple as at least you have to make sure your team member have the same mindset before you can apply the strategy. I cannot say that the my presentation today is to make sure that all of the over the world should find or should follow this instruction, but yeah, you can see another perspective or the quality of the software, and maybe you can apply this to your organization, starting from change your organization mindset. So if how how to find the thing strategy that fits the organization, I think you have to take a look back with your organization, check with them, and make sure everything's on the same place, on
And
the
as
same
part,
mindset.
and as part of that, is sponsorship at C level important? Do you need senior management buy into this?
Sorry, come again?
So as
It's
part of
breaking.
this, you need senior level buy-in to this, management buy-in to this. It needs to be quite a culture
Yep.
change, perhaps, across the organization.
Yes, that's one of the important things, that you have to make sure your management also accept the strategy, uh, because we live in an organization consists of several people that may have a different perspective, and maybe your leads or your C level or whatever the strategic decision that they can make, and make sure they also align with your strategy, and make sure your ideas it can be fulfilled or your ideas can be executed and it fits with their mindset also. Thank you
Wonderful.
for adding that
Thank
point.
you. Thank you. We have no questions at the moment. I'll just do one last shout out to the audience to say, please pop them into the comments
Yeah,
box you want
come on.
before we go. So something that you said earlier, Mirza, was be a quality advocate and be bold. So, I'm sat here thinking, yeah, I want to do that. How do I start? How do I make a start?
Yeah, the the hardest thing is sometimes the quality teams be a second class citizen, you know. There's a caste or there is a level in the development team. Another person might think that the quality or the tester, it's only a simple things to do, so the tester is a second class citizen or a few level citizens below developers, so they think that yeah, the developer do hardest thing, harder one rather than the tester. So my point is you have to be bold of your team that you are the most specific person that can drive the quality aspect of the software. So if there is any problem about quality or if there is any problem regarding the testing, you have to be bold that you are the one who can explain to them, you are the one who coach them, or you are the one who have a knowledge about the software testing, about the how we can drive the quality itself, so they can have the trust. But at the moment, you also have to learn more about how to drive the quality and learn more about how the strategy fits with your needs. So if all of these can work together, you can be bold, you can be working efficiently with team, your team trusts you, so we can deliver a good quality software.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have got a question here. Andrea, could you pop this up from Martin Roman? I'll start to read it. In a company where QA is activated when the code is finished, how could you influence the teams to include QA since the requirements phase?
Yeah, this is the very classic problem when you are having maybe a company that not driving a technology as their mindset, or they just shift into a tech company, or they just move from a non-tech company into a tech company. But if you are asking about specifically when the QA is activated after the code is finished, the first one you have to talk with your team. Why we always started with a talk, because we are a team. So we solve a problem by discussing, right? So discuss what is the most pain point if you are activated QA after the code is finished. Is there anything that we can improve? Or if you find the improvement can be solved by applying shift left testing, or maybe you ask what is the theory by starting the QA since the requirement phase. You can bring the solution, or you can bring the theory with the shift left testing methods. You can start the testing even from the starting point when you are grouping requirements or when the requirement phases. So you can show to them what is the benefit of doing or activating QA or involving QA since the requirement phases. After they know the benefits, they will ask you more about how to do and what the strategy can fit with it and how the team can implement this peacefully. Because sometimes when we implement changing the strategy, the teams will have a push factor, and I don't like it because my work is will take longer almost everything, and we just have a lot of testing or kind of that mindset. So maybe that's my answer.
Thank you, and thank you, Martin, for the question. I hope that helped. So no more questions at the moment. So thank you very, very much for that presentation and your insight. So quality, everyone's responsibility. I think everybody would agree with that, and some thoughts there about how to start to make that happen, perhaps. Thank you again for your time, and thank you to everybody who has joined us this morning. And stay tuned for some more sessions at the A4Q Congress. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.